Have you ever felt like you're falling behind financially and that everyone else seems to have more money than you? As an accountant, I've spent a lot of time analyzing numbers, and in this video, I'm gonna go through some interesting insights that I found that I think will really help change your perspective on numbers and finances. So in this video, we'll go through 6 of the things that I found and why it might seem like everyone else has more money than you, but it's not necessarily the case. So let's dig into it. The first is the social media effect. Now, previously, before social media, you'd be comparing yourself to people that lived with you, like whether it's your neighbors or in your own community down the street from you. And that was fine because everyone would be in a similar socioeconomic class. And so you'd have similar levels of income, similar family sizes, and so everything was fine. You wouldn't be comparing yourself to someone that was way ahead of you. Now with social media, what happens now is you can compare yourself to anyone around the world. So you could literally go on and compare yourself to someone like a celebrity or someone making 10 times your salary. And now you're like, shoot, I need to be doing that too. Otherwise I'm falling behind. And that's what the social media effect does. Not only that, but previously, like let's say you were comparing yourself to the neighbor, you might go over, you see their new car, and then you go back home and you're like, okay, it gives your mind and nervous system some time to regulate itself and feel okay with them having that new car, and you might not. But now with social media, you go online and you're seeing everything all at once. You're seeing that person who just got that new car. You're seeing that person who just went on a nice vacation. You see that person who is going on a fancy vacation and getting their scuba diving license. Or someone who just bought a cottage. Like, I mean, if they haven't shared it on social media, have they really bought a new cottage? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's complete without posting and sharing it, right? So that's what the social media effect does. It's now you're comparing all of these different people all at the same time. And that's an issue because while if you're only comparing yourself to one person, your body can relax, the nervous system gets to like re-regulate itself. But with social media, it's all happening all at the same time. You see those individuals who are doing all these things, and your mind doesn't think that, oh, these are 3 different people or 4 different people, each with their own lives, but it thinks that it's one person. And so you need to do all of it in order to stay at that level. Otherwise you feel like you're falling behind. And the reason for that is because you can afford anything, but just not everything. And what that means is you could probably afford that new car or those scuba diving lessons or that cottage, but with social media, it seems like it's all happening all at the same time. And so you think, oh, I need to be doing all of these at the same time. But in reality, you can probably only do 1 or 2 while being financially responsible. And so again, it makes you feel like you're falling behind financially. Now, obviously we can't get rid of social media completely. I mean, if you have done that, like kudos, that's super hard to do and great job. But for those of us who are still on social media, on Instagram or TikTok, what I've started to do is really limit my time on those apps, and I found that to be helpful because now I'm not comparing myself and scrolling through and seeing what these people are doing. Now I only go on for a few minutes at a time and I'm not overwhelmed, and I found that to be super helpful. So highly recommend it. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried that and how you found it. And the reason that social media impacts you so much is because you haven't defined what your rich life means to you. So what that means, and the way I look at it is like, let's say you have friends that are climbing the corporate ladder. They're getting promoted, putting in long hours, getting married, buying that house. But for you, that's not what your dream life is about. For example, in my case, I really prioritize this YouTube channel that I've started. That's really important to me and something I'm really passionate about. And for that, I've given up working long hours into the night to get promoted quickly, to become a vice president at a company. And that is a different journey that I'm on. And if you don't know what you stand for, what your goals are, what your rich life is about, then it's easy to get distracted and think that you're falling behind. Now, I might not have as much money as my friends who got promoted really quickly, but that's okay because that's not what I'm after. And because I know that, even though I may not be as successful as them, I'm really happy with where I am, and so it reduces that feeling that I'm feeling behind and that people have more money than me because I'm comfortable with where I am and I'm living my rich life of what it means for me. The next reason why it seems like everyone else has more money than you is because you're doing upward comparison, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're comparing yourself to people who have nicer homes than you, nicer cars, go on fancier vacations than you, and so you feel like you're falling behind financially. The flip side of upward comparison is downward comparison, where you compare yourself yourself with people who have less than you. But naturally, as humans, we like to upward comparison because we think that these people have that nicer home, that nicer vacation, and so we have FOMO and we think that we're falling behind. Like someone went on a vacation to Japan and you haven't gone yet, or someone just bought a cottage and you're still renting an apartment. And while it might seem that upward comparison can be good, and sometimes it is, you've got to remember that there will always be someone who has more money than you. Even think about the richest people on the planet, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Yeah, they probably are like the top 5 richest people, but there's someone who always has a bigger boat or a bigger plane. And so if you're always caught up in that comparison, you're always gonna be not happy, because as the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And so instead of upward comparison, what I think is a better approach is really focusing back on yourself. Like, where were you financially a year ago? 2 years ago, 5 years ago? Are you living a better life today? Like, do you have a savings account? Do you have an emergency fund? Are you regularly putting money into savings and investments? Are you debt free? Like, these are more important things than worrying about that person who just went to Japan or who just bought a new cottage. I think these will really help you not only feel better, but also help you feel ahead financially. And really, most people are just YOLOing, especially with how easy it's become to take on more debt. Financing your life has never been easier. You can finance a t-shirt, you can finance your vacation, you can finance a new laptop. There's a payment plan for all of it. But by doing this, you're trading away your future for these payment plans because you'll be working for years to come. And this can easily lead to the wrong habits where you're constantly taking on more installment loans, where eventually your whole life is financed and you're living paycheck to paycheck. And the issue with that is now you have no room to pay off debt, save money, or invest. And so you're constantly going to be living paycheck to paycheck. And that is because of YOLOing. And that's why, while it does seem like everyone else has more money than you, really are just living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason that they don't save or invest is because it's so hard to imagine that in 20 years or 30 years, you might be getting close to retirement. And so you need to start putting money aside. But you think, okay, I'm young now, I can continue to work, and that you'll save for retirement down the road. But it never comes. You never start saving. And because you're trapped in this world where everything is financed through a firm, now you are basically stuck. And next, you're not considering the trade-off. So you see someone successful that seems to have a lot of money and you think, wow, they really have it all. But have you considered the trade-offs that they've had to make to get to where they are? The sleepless nights, the long hours, the sacrificing relationships with friends and family, the impact to their health. All of those things that we don't necessarily see up front because it's hidden by material purchases. And so it seems like they have more money than they do, but they also lack in other areas of their lives. So when you're thinking about, wow, that person really has more, and you feel like you're falling behind financially, really think about, are you willing to sacrifice those same things to get to where they are? For example, at work, there's many VPs, but they've worked really hard to get to where they are, but made a lot of sacrifices to do so. So that's something that I constantly think about is, am I willing to make those same sacrifices as well? And if not, well, there's other paths to life, and it's not all about being a VP. For example, I get to spend my time on this YouTube channel and making videos, which I really enjoy. So I'd rather be doing that than working 18-hour days so I can get promoted. And then, have you focused on yourself lately? Because while it is important to sacrifice and work hard to achieve your financial goals and dreams, it's also important to enjoy the journey along the way. Now, that could mean different things for different people. For some, it might be going on a solo trip. It could be going to the coffee shop and spending an afternoon there with a nice coffee and a book that they're reading. But it's important to take time for yourself because you want to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, that's just going to lead to burnout, and it's not going to be a fun process. Like, how many people do you know that saved every little penny to amass like a couple of $1,000,000, but now they're still super cheap and don't spend their money on anything? They're still eating beans and rice, and it's not really fun. Like, what was the point of becoming a millionaire if you're still going to live like that? So I think it's more about having that balance, taking that long-term approach. You don't need to become a millionaire and retire in the next 5 years. You know, maybe take your time, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Even if it takes 10 years, as long as you're enjoying it and having fun, then it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, again, life and financial freedom and all of those things, it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey, and enjoying your journey is the most important part. And by doing all those things, by really focusing on yourself and taking care of yourself, it improves your mental health, which is really important because I've noticed when my mental health isn't doing well, that's when I get those feelings of everyone else has more money than me, I'm falling behind financially. But when my mental health is strong and I'm doing things to take care of myself, that's when those feelings come less into my mind, and I actually feel generally happier about money and life overall. So definitely give that a try. That's what I've noticed. If I do my regular like yoga, go to the coffee shop, and really feel grateful for enjoying like that coffee. Like sometimes I'm just like having that positive and that grateful attitude for me has really helped me in my mental health and really helped me see the importance of enjoying that journey to getting to financial freedom. And I encourage you to do the same. Try, next Friday, go out and go get yourself a coffee and just sit down and really enjoy it, especially with winter around the corner. Snuggle up and really enjoy it. And while you're waiting to get out there, in the meantime, you can check out one of these videos on personal finance before you go.